Hey there, everyone. Happy Monday and happy welcome back to Teachers That Sparkle. Hopefully, you are having a happy day. I know that there are so many places right now in the United States, anyway, where the weather is just crazy out of control, up, down. I know this week we're going to be back to 70, but we're supposed to have like amazing amounts of rain, which can be very, very stressful for teachers. I know that there's some areas of the country that are very cold. I know that there are snowstorms in other areas and rain on the coast, and it's just crazy what's happening. I even saw something posted yesterday that Florida was even cold. So it's happening. January and February are super hard months. So teachers, hang in there. I promise you, if you focus on the positives about your job and what you get to do with kids every day, it makes these challenging days just a little bit better. And before you know it, we'll be getting ready for spring again. So hang in there. All right. So as we are getting ready for this week's episode, I wanted to call this week the episode where we talk about bad leaders. Now, I was in a leadership role, right? I was in a leadership role for many, many years. And 16 years ago, I actually became the principal. And there were things that I had to learn over the years and things that I did well. And then things that, if I look back on it, I probably would say now, oh, why did I do that? Because maybe it wasn't the best choice, right? Now, what I always tried to do is have a good balance between what policy and procedures were, taking care of my teachers, but always students came first. I think that's just the main role of a principal. Decisions have to be made based on what's best for kids, right? And even though I loved my teachers and my staff, there were times where I had to say, no, we can't do that because that is not what's going to be best for the students. And there would be people that would not always agree with my decisions. And then there would be people that would, step back and say, okay, I understand. So, leadership is a challenging thing. And I've spoken about it so many times. I'm actually a leadership development coach. And so, being a good leader is a huge passion of mine. And my mission right now is to really, really affect how people go into these leadership roles and then how they do conduct business when they are in one. But I want to kind of shift the conversation a little bit. I saw a post the other day on some random site, and it said, people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad leaders. And I thought about that and I thought, okay, I have taken some people through some very challenging situations. We've gone through just the normals were COVID and Hurricane Harvey. And we had a year where the refineries around here kept having issues in the air and we'd have to, adjust how we did school. We've had ups and downs and overs and unders, and we worked in low income areas with a lot of high mobility rates and maybe, people that didn't actually see our vision when they first came into our school. But I had people that stayed with me even during the hard times. I went into this last school in particular because it's the one that's freshest on my mind. And I had to do quite a bit of an overhaul when I went in, because some staff members, I think, were just not in the right place. It wasn't because they weren't good teachers or good people. It's just maybe it wasn't a good fit for them. And when I went in and had to kind of adjust and do that, I brought in new people, my people that believed in my vision and mission, and people that understood the dynamics of the community, and people that were all in, even on the hard days. That was a lot of work. It took me a long time. But when I think about my staff that I left at the end of last year, I can say I had probably 50%, 60%, somewhere between there. And this is just off the top of my head, that stayed with me throughout the entire time, even all 8 years or 7 of the 8 years, once I started to stable that staff out. I think that's pretty powerful. because it tells you that even though it was hard, and let me tell you, it was hard work. Turning around a school is never, ever, ever easy. And then maintaining that success can be even more challenging, right? But I think that that's a good track record. And then I think about those people as individuals, and they were strong teachers, right? And they had some characteristics about them. And it makes me think of that quote again, or that little post. People don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad leaders. And I start to think students don't give up on a bad classroom. They give up on a poor teacher. And I don't want to say that in a negative, necessarily bad person kind of way. But we all know as adults, we want to go into a work environment where the leader is going to stand up for us when we need them to. That the leader is going to stand beside us when it's necessary, right? Through the learning and through the adjustments. And the leader will stand behind us and let us lead when we're ready, when it's appropriate. So let's talk about how that relates to your classroom. Students don't get to pick their classroom. So they don't get to pick their job, right? But going to school is like a job. And they don't get a paycheck, right? Necessarily. They get grades, they get learning. So if they're motivated by that, then this is not going to really matter. But how many kids do you know out there that that's really not going to make that big of a difference for them, especially if you're working in an area that is more challenging? But what makes a difference for them is exactly what I go back to with the Rita Pearson quote all the time. A child needs a champion that's going to stand up for them. It's going to be there for them and push them to do their very, very best. So if you are, in essence, the leader in your classroom, would your students want to quit on you? That's a question I want you to ask yourself this week. If you stepped back and you were a student in the back of the room, like a fly on the wall, would you quit on yourself? Is your place the environment for your students that you want your work environment to be for you? I always had this same philosophy from the time I walked into my very first classroom until the day I walked out as the principal. If it's not good enough for my own daughter, it's not good enough for anybody else. When I think about the students, that's how I treated everything. If me as a mama would not have wanted this for my daughter as a student, then it's not okay. And as she became an educator, me as a mama, would I want this for my daughter as a teacher? Would I want her principal doing this? It's not okay. So I'm going to give you some homework this week. I want you to really reflect on this. Would your students quit on you if they had the opportunity? Would they turn in their 2 weeks notice today? Or would they be like, oh no, my boss, my leader, my teacher in that classroom is somebody who is my champion, who cares about me, who guides me as I need, who pushes me to my limits so that I can get better, and who stands behind me, loves me, and supports me when I try new things on my own. Now it's January. So if you start to think, oh, I don't know, maybe some kids would quit on me. The good news is it's not too late to make some changes. So that brings the second part of your homework for this week. If you could say, yes, I could have 1, 3, 5, 12, all 22 of my students quit on me, what's one thing that you could adjust that could make a difference? Dig deep, y'all. Really think about what you would want from your principal. And then let's make that happen for your students in the classroom. Promise you, it can make a huge difference. All right. That's everything I have this week for Teachers That Sparkle. Again, I hope that just this one little piece of information, this little golden nugget, is something that can help you be your very best in the classroom. Have a great rest of your week. Stay warm, stay dry, stay focused, stay motivated. And if you ever need me, you know how to reach me. Teachers That Sparkle. I'm Sherry, and I'll see you next week right back here for another great episode.